very quiet. Real quick, can we just can we pray real quick? Cool.
You ready?
Cool. I'm a pray real quick. It's gonna take like 20 seconds. So back in January, we were fasting and praying, doing the 21 days of, was it 21 days of prayer for my church?
We did 21 days of prayer, but more specifically, we were recognizing in our home that we had just fallen off on worship, on just like spending intentional time with God. We were coming off of like being more comfortable going to church. And so every night we would spend like 2 hours. We would watch a message, we would do worship, we would just have our time, and we wanted to really hear what like God was saying, I felt like. Do you agree?
No, I remember. That's essentially where we were. I remember fasting and praying, but honestly not really knowing the why.
Yeah.
I remember working downstairs and watching this message about faith. I remember texting you and being like, yo, tonight we have to watch this again.
Yeah.
Like for me, for the second time, like you have to see this. We watched it. I think you started kind of like seeing exactly why.
Mm-hmm. I could pinpoint the moment when I first silently heard that we would be called to a different level of ministry, a different part of ministry that we hadn't, and that was when we were in Indianapolis. And we were just driving through, and we just had a heart for that city.
Yeah.
And we had no idea why, had never been there before, don't know when we're gonna make it back. But that was the first moment that we had a real and honest conversation about us feeling like God was really gonna call us to something new and fresh and different.
Yeah.
And so in that, when we were watching the message, but then I think we just went into just like worship. And I remember we just started writing down like things that God was just speaking to us.
Yeah.
We weren't talking, we weren't having a conversation about any of that. We were truly just.
Yeah. It was ours.
It was ours. And we were just writing down. And then at the end, I think we were both just emotional. And then that's when we just shared what God had told each of us separately.
Yeah. What did he tell you?
He had told me that you were going to pastor a church. I felt like, and at the time I was like, maybe, because my thinking was, maybe he'll move us to this place. Maybe he'll move us somewhere else. But, which I think is cool, because then what he spoke to you on that exact same day, that exact same time, completely separate, was even bigger than I think what I was kind of seeing and thinking.
Yeah, I don't think that night, I was fully prepared or expecting. Like I was thinking, man, I'm gonna maybe like be a part of somebody like, church and like grow into ministry. Like that was like my thinking, which I still think is like part of a plan at some point, but that's all I was thinking about. And then that very night, I remember hearing the words church in the wild. I'm starting to get an idea of like, whatever this thing is, this is gonna be very different. When this became like a full idea of what it is we were supposed to be doing, I had like struggle dealing with like, okay, so what is this, right? Like, is this church? Is this like a movement? Like what? I don't know what this is supposed to be. So I kind of just leaned into like not giving it anything and just being like, nah, we're just doing everything that we were called to do.
Right.
Not you and I, but all of us, right? Like we're called to make disciples. We're called to reach the nations. We're called to live on mission. Right. So like my heart is that as we continue to like step into this, that people would be doing the same with their own lives too. Like we were all called to live on mission.
Our point is not to just be the reiteration of what we do on Sundays, but our point is to live out being the church. It sounds very, very like abstract, but I think that is what it is. It is very, very much living authentically and on mission for what God's called you to do. And yeah, I think that's what that looks like.
Yeah.